Student meteorologist Dean D. Davison, liveweatherblogs.com. It's a busy night here in the tropics. Finally, we got tropics from Carl. It took them long enough to develop. It took almost a week for it to develop since it came onto the map. We have Julia. We have massive Igor. He's a monster storm. We'll go into all three of these systems here on the Live Weather Blogs Overnight Edition as we're going into it right now. Then we'll take a look at the severe weather and the Davison risk factor. And then, like normal, going into the Triad Remnant Valley forecast. But everybody wants to know about the tropics and where Igor is going, and same with Carl. So we're gonna get this party started here. We're gonna start with first with Igor. As of right now, Bermuda it's not looking too pretty for you, Bermuda. First of all, we're looking at it to be a major hurricane. As of right now, the National Hurricane Center track brings it right up to the west of Bermuda. What that will do is give it the worst winds on the east side. It's always the worst part of a hurricane. If it holds true, it's going to be massive on Bermuda's going to get massive amount of stuff going on with it. A lot of wind, a lot of rain. We'll go into that we'll go into that tomorrow more in depth. And this looks to be the holding pattern, and Bermuda looks to be the #1 asset for this area. We'll definitely go through what Bermuda is expecting. Now, what can you expect on the east coast of the United States? Rip current and high waves, maybe some coastal flooding. There are the three things we would be worrying about on the eastern shoreline at this point. It doesn't look like an almost 0% chance of a landfall on the United States at all. Newfoundland, that's a little further out. We'll have to keep an eye on that. But the United States looks safe. Bermuda, not so. Now we're going to take a look here at satellite imagery and computer models. We'll start with furthest west, the one that has the most threatened land. That's going to be here to the Yucatan, south of Cancun, and around Cozumel. You see, Carl got his act together pretty good there towards the end here. We have rain also here up towards Cuba. It's going to move across, it'll lose its energy a little bit, and then re-merge itself back into the Bay of Campeche, which is extremely warm there. And then Category 1 hurricanes goes into Mexico. Here we go. Here's our buddy Igor, who's getting caught by the trough. You can see the trough digging down, which is going to pull this north. But because it's not the deepest trough you can grab, it's not going to dig this soon enough to. It looks like not soon enough to spare Bermuda. Bermuda, if you can't see it, is located right there, and you can see that the point brings it over or just to the west of it, which will be the worst case scenario for Bermuda, obviously, with the eastern quadrant of a hurricane as being the strongest. Look how big. When I pull this over, because I'm going to go towards Julia too, I'm going to shift this image over, but you're going to see how big Igor is. Igor, he's a monster. Look at this size of this monster. I mean, look when it circulates, you can see the buzzsaw pattern, and it's breathing extremely well. It's 1 mile an hour off of Cat 5 again. To me, it wouldn't be surprised that Cat 5 would develop. But here's another situation. Look at Julia. She's definitely feeling the influence of Igor at this point, and is also feeling the influence. Let's see if we can stop moving. Of this upper level low developing up here. What that's going to do is steer it a little further to the west. It's also going to shear it, so I don't see it being, extremely strong. They're bringing it up to a 4. This upper level low is digging in pretty good. It's going to shear a little bit between that and Igor. It's going to shear it. So I don't know. It's a little off in intensity, if you ask me. I don't even. They're bringing it pretty strong here, and they're shifting it to the west northwest. Igor in this upper level low will have a part to do with where Julia goes. Now we're going to computer models. People often ask me why I didn't stay with the eastern track on Igor. You can see because Igor has now shifted back towards the west. Most of the tracks are GFS shifted back west. No gaps has always been there. Then GFDL. HWRF model staying to the west. So the issue is for Bermuda, the fact where that dot is near where Bermuda is, that most of the minus the GFDL model, which is always an eastern trending model, have this now going over or just to the west of Bermuda. It's not a good, not good for Bermuda by no means. And all they can do right now is prepare, because the best thing to do if you live in Bermuda, if you're viewing this from Bermuda, please prepare now. The earlier you prepare, the better. Let me tell you. I'm gonna call him the lazy, or my lazy buddy, Carl. He's very lazy. I'll tell you why he's lazy. Is because he's taking forever to develop. But where he's at now, look where it brings it. All these models are bringing it onshore now, near Cozumel or south of the area of Cancun. So, and then when it comes back out, where it gets a little confusing. A lot of them bring it straight across west. Of course, NGFDL model is shipping it south, and then we have the GFDL model shipping it south and go back out to the Pacific Ocean. That's a long run. I don't want to pay too much attention to that. Just if you're in the area of Belize or Cozumel or Cancun, you might get some effects here from Carl. Julia is still projected to be a fish storm. The only model that this model's been doing it so a lot. The UK Met is still keeping on more to the western trajectory of the northwest trajectory. I don't understand this. It's going to turn out to sea. This may be an issue for the Azore Islands, futuristically, as an extratropical system, but something we have to keep an eye on. Here at liveweatherblogs.com, you know we will. So we're going to go into severe weather aspects of things now. Severe weather threat for today: Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City, St. Louis, just some of the areas that are mid-Kansas, mid-Nebraska. These are areas that are under risk for hail, high winds, and tornadoes. Not as isolated as today when it comes to tornadoes, but also not a significant risk. So Davidson risk factor for the day of Wednesday, we're going to go with 75 on the wind, 60 on the hail, and 25 on the tornadoes. Going and shifting this to the east for Thursday into the Ohio Valley and western Pennsylvania. Going to progress east. Wind and hail will be the main threat, isolated tornadoes, but wind and hail will be the best in Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Paducah, Charleston, West Virginia. And this may slide Thursday night and Friday a little further east as a squall line into Roanoke area, but right now it may not hang together when it goes across the Appalachian Mountains. But Davidson risk factor: 85 wind, 55 hail, and 10% on the tornadoes. As I said, the tornadoes don't look as promising. So anyways, we're going to go into now the forecast field. I want to show you a few of the lifting of the soundings. Start off with Topeka, Kansas here. First of all, it has a 1405 Cape, which is marginal to mid-level, -5 on the lifting index. That's pretty good. Here's the thing you gotta watch out for, though. Here you got the wind coming out of the southeast and the east, and then they switch around to the west and northwest as it gets further up in the atmosphere. What that'll allow to do is cause some rotation in the atmosphere. Mesoscale supercells, mesocyclones and supercells could form, and you see the winds get stronger with height as they go up. So Topeka would be in a better risk area for possible tornadoes. We're going to go up to Omaha. Take a look at what that looks like. Same way. This is a good. It gets windier with height, and there is a lot of change, especially in the lower part of the atmosphere, lower 22,000 feet of the atmosphere. And we're going to go to get one out of it. I think Oklahoma City. Not a lot of wind would change direction with height, but not a lot of wind. It's just marginal. It can happen, but it's more marginal with 1800 in your Cape and -4 in your lift. So not as much lift. All right, now we're going to go to the forecast for the Roanoke Valley. 57 this evening, 91 Wednesday, 86 Thursday. Light chance thunderstorms, like I was saying, on Friday, Thursday night and Friday. 83 on Saturday, and you bump degrees up about 5 degrees, and that's what you get for the triad. This is Andy Davidson, liveweatherblogs.com.